Ridiculous questions.
Meticulously debated.
This is Tell Me I'm Wrong.
Well, I was happy just last night. I've been losing sight. Sighting all the falling fights. What is this if this ain't right? Back again, the monster rights. Losing life until that night. Life never let him lie. Light is my far passes right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong. I am your resident father of the group, Joseph Robinson. That's right, double name today. That's how important it is.
I am father-to-be Ryan Story. Again, a double name.
And I am childless Josh Ballard.
There we go. That's the
Yes.
title.
At least as far as I know.
That's
Grim.
fair.
Grim.
I was really hoping you were going to come in with, I am not your daddy, Josh Ballard.
Oh, I am your daddy. That's unrelated.
I was thinking we were gonna get hashtag fitness dad with the Peloton.
I am rocking the sleeveless shirt today for our recording. I know this is not a visual medium, which thank God,
it's
because
visual
Ryan
for
is
us.
Ryan has moved once again. It appears into a literal storage closet.
I just shifted. I added a shelf.
It's
so
like you are in the janitor's closet from Elaine Bennis's apartment complex in Seinfeld, where they have to order the Chinese food because it won't deliver it to her side of the hall.
Quite honestly, I'm beginning to wonder if you're gonna kind of like, when do you get out for rec time?
not till next week.
Okay.
I literally almost just choked on my water.
Ryan over there in solitary confinement making this terrible show by himself.
They put me in the box and they were like, create some content. And I was like, okay.
Of all that time, this is the best you could come up with? When you literally sit in a room by yourself, this is the best you could come up with.
I don't know if you watched Inside by Bo Burnham, but this pales in comparison.
Y'all, I watched it literally last night, and I think he's a genius.
Openly.
I think he's a genius.
Y'all, surprise, surprise. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Joe was on his 14th viewing of
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the later years.
I watched Mr. Nanny the other night with Hulk Hogan.
Why?
I listened to a
watch these
podcast on
things?
it. I own a double feature. It's a double feature of Suburban Commando and Mr. Nanny.
What?
Wow.
I think I got
That
it
is
at
a
Kroger's for like $4.
shockingly terrible double feature.
But I listened to a podcast called We Hate Movies, and they talk about bad movies. And I was like, I have to watch the movie now. Actually, I think I'm going to watch Thunder in Paradise tonight. That's the three-part Hulk Hogan feature.
You're intentionally watching Hulk Hogan act?
It's actually not bad. I mean, it's nostalgia. I loved the movie and TV show when I was a kid. But that's not what we're here for. We are not here to talk about the Hulk Hogan filmography. We are here to celebrate the men out there who are daddies. Fathers, papas, dad. What is it he says? Popo Shisho? Is that?
I don't think that's related to father. I think that's more of a Santa Claus thing. But it is Tim Allen related, so.
Well, we're here to celebrate Padres.
There you
dads. We just want to say happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I'm a dad. Ryan's kind of a dad.
Okay, I don't mean to just detract from the conversation that we're having, but I just need to bring this up because it has happened once again. We have brought up Tim Allen. And I think it's important we have this conversation right now.
I will say it was a tangential reference. It wasn't explicit.
But it was too many.
And
so
I didn't even
here's
bring
the
up
thing.
Tim Allen. I brought up a movie that he stars in, but I never uttered his name.
It was Tim Allen a Jace, which basically this entire podcast is.
We're just going to turn into a Tim Allen retrospective.
We already have. So my question is this. Now, Tim Allen has been on WTF with Mark Maron. I'm pretty sure we mentioned his name more on this podcast than that entire episode mentioned his name. You know, he's been on some others. Do we lead the podcast industry in mentions of Tim Allen? And if so, should we stop?
I would say, I don't know that we lead by total references, but if you go by percentage of episodes that mention Tim Allen, I would say we're probably number one.
There has to be a Tool Time podcast.
There certainly is not. I'm going to make a motion here.
Okay. Listeners, this is our first official recorded motion of the show.
I think it's our second. Show. Maybe we need to hit that sound effect again for a declaration or whatever.
Charlie, there you go.
Beautiful.
That's you hired somebody?
I don't know if I told you guys. I hired another intern. He was really cheap. He was really looking for some experience, so we don't have to pay him.
We only offer work on this podcast for exposure, nothing more, nothing less.
Our enormous audience.
I'll say it's a real shame that they don't get any exposure out of it.
Yeah,
but that's okay. I'm going to make a motion that we no longer refer to Tim Allen by his name. Not again. We're gonna have to keep it very much like Voldemort. You know, he should not be named. But I think we from here on out only refer to him as Papa Noel.
Okay,
and
just confuse everybody that listens to this podcast.
I'm going to second this motion, which means it will pass.
There is a Tool Time podcast. It's called the Home Improvement in Podcast.
Okay, and how many episodes do they have?
Have they made one in the last year?
They made one Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
I guess they've run out of episodes, so now they're just talking about his movies. They got one on Galaxy Quest, For Richer or Poorer.
Oh, my gosh. This is
the
Joe should have made 3. This podcast. You missed it, Joe.
Okay, so they've done every episode. This is talking about the finale of that TV show.
My collab senses are tingling.
I've got to call him.
Right? I think we got a
okay, so my first question is, can we get Tim Allen on this podcast? But now I feel like we got to reach out to him.
I feel like this is better. I actually don't want Tim on this podcast.
I'd take a hard pass on that one.
I mean, if he's willing to come on, I will take anybody.
I might pass.
Okay, well, I'm sorry for taking us off on a tangent on Papa Noel, but we should probably get back to what we were talking about, which I believe was daddies, if I remember right, Joe.
We had a topic?
Yeah, Josh, you pitched our topic this week. It's a little different. You know, we wanted to just chit-chat because a peek behind the curtain, we've all gotten kind of busy and a little stressed out lately, so we're trying to lighten it up a little bit.
Well, okay, so I pitched this topic, and as in true Josh Ballard form, the topic is a weird one that really has no value or meaning, but it means a lot to me. And so we're not going to have a true debate this week. We're simply going to have a conversation, and I think it's a conversation that's worth having here between us, between your own friends, your family. Like, this is something that everybody needs to know about themselves, because I think it's a way for us to appreciate each other and appreciate ourselves.
I feel like this is a good topic for your next dinner party. You're sitting around a table with some friends, and this is the topic you're going to bring up. So maybe listen to this episode beforehand, get some inspiration, share the show with your friends, and then have this discussion.
We're providing a conversation starter, an icebreaker, if you will, and I think it'll really go a long way to bringing you closer to those around you. So,
because what is this show if we can't allow people to talk about our insane topics with their friends?
Exactly. That's the whole point. And so, me and Joe went on a camping trip this weekend. And it was
a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It's an annual camping trip with a group of friends. It's only couples, so that's why Ryan didn't come, because he's not part of a real couple.
Leah doesn't exist.
She does not exist, so he can't come.
At least you are acknowledging it now. What does that say about you?
Yeah, it says a lot about the dark, truthful mirror that I've had to look into to face that fact.
It got real sad when you moved out of your beautiful 4-bedroom home into this slum you're living in now, after you realized you didn't need all that space for your non-existent family.
Okay, a little bit more detail for the listeners. The room that I am in, it is actually a room that looks completely different than the entire rest of the house.
I don't think we need to give them detail. You are in solitary confinement.
It actually
that's enough.
It has a drop ceiling. Don't have a drop ceiling anywhere in our house. I don't know why this room exists the way that it does, but there's like a school fluorescent light above my head, like the ones you have in your elementary school.
Uh-huh.
The walls are like yellow brown, and the ceiling is like that popcorn drop ceiling.
And Ryan's got a storage shelf behind him, right over his right shoulder.
Oh, there's 2 more in front of me.
On the shelf behind Ryan, we have a box of diapers.
No, not a box.
Oh, sorry. like 18 boxes of diapers.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we had we talked about Ryan having a bro mitzvah where we go have a guy's day and everybody brings them diapers. I, of course, could not find diapers at the specific type of bougie organic ass diapers Ryan's child demanded.
Organic ass is actually my newest diaper brand that I'm coming out with. If everybody wants to pitch in, Kickstarter's going to be kicking in July. We need that money for the baby.
We started out with organic bougie diapers, and then you just go to Costco and you buy cheap diapers because you literally run through them.
Honestly, we're getting close to getting the Costco membership because of how often we've heard that the Costco diapers are
and if
so
you do
worth
formula, the formula is so much cheaper at Costco.
But beyond the diapers, Ryan has what appears to be multiple cake stands.
No, just one.
Just one cake stand.
What's the thing on the what's the white thing on the top?
That is actually a bumbo.
What is a bumbo?
Oh, a baby seat. It's a baby seat. I'm sad that I know that.
I was gonna let Josh explain because there are so many crazy words when you're having a baby. There's like boppy, bumbo. There's like all these like random things that people just made up.
A bumbo is a seat to make your infant child self-conscious because their fat legs barely fit in the holes that you're supposed to sit in.
It is a strange thing. We did not use
a bumbo because seriously, Rachel said there were stories of kids getting stuck in them.
So it's like when I try to ride a roller coaster. Great.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
Okay. Anyways, back to our topic. What I was getting at before I went off on yet another tangent, because that's what we do here, is that I, for the duration of the camping trip, referred to Joe by a nickname. And that is because Joe loves this camping trip. He owns this camping trip.
He does. He
organizes.
I've never been on it, and I hear about this every year. I can just picture Joe in his fully actualized self.
He's got spreadsheets. He's got schedules. He's got he takes all the money. He does everything.
Josh, real quick before we move, when we move forward, what is on my spreadsheets?
The stuff that you should bring on the camping trip.
And folks out there, let me tell you a little story. Every year we've gone, we had 3 people this year who've never been camping before. They've gone. So I know camping, if you've never been, is not an easy thing to pack for. You don't know what you bring. So I give a list of what the group needs and then what each individual needs. 4 years in a row with this list, Josh Ballard, podcaster, has managed to forget pivotal items for camping that are on the list. And I'm not talking like, oops, I forgot a towel. The first year you came, what'd you forget, Josh?
Air mattress.
The second year you came, what'd you forget, Josh?
Any kind of blankets or coverings for my air mattress.
He brought an air mattress and a sheet, but nothing to put on top of them. And then couldn't figure out why he was so cold at night.
Also did not bring sweatpants or a sweatshirt, so me and Joe had to drive 30 minutes to a Walmart.
Yes.
Wow.
And so I get, I don't want to say chastised, but I appear anal I overdo it on this camping trip. And now you know why. Because even with all this preparation, Josh still can't figure it out.
Now, in my defense, the last 2 trips I've done a good job. 2 summers ago, I did not forget anything. The only downside was I drank
3.
I drank 2 bottles worth of sparkling pineapple wine
from a can.
Wow, Josh. Oh my gosh. Sparkling pineapple wine if there was AIM instant message right now, that would be your screen name, sparkling pineapple wine.
And Ryan, how long? So they come in cans and each can is a half a bottle of wine, essentially. I drank 4 of those cans. What time frame do you think I did that in, Ryan?
I'm going to say probably between 9 and 11 a.m.
Well, you're not far off. It was probably 10 to 11:30.
That was pretty quick.
So I nailed that.
Yeah.
The problem is you're on that lake and you're swimming and you have no idea how much you're drinking because you're just swimming so much. And then you get out and stand on the shore and you're like, oh God.
It's kind of like when it's late and you're at a friend's house and you've been drinking for a long time and it's like kind of dark in the room and you're like sitting on a couch or something and then you stand up and all of a sudden all the alcohol, you're just aware of it.
Just rushes.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then this past year, I was perfect, and I only forgot coffee cups for coffee in the morning.
Not bad.
But my lovely beloved Erica came through in the clutch with some styrofoam coffee cups she stole from an event she was at. So
perfect.
Okay. Anyways, so during this camping trip, because of the way Joe owns this camping trip, I coined the nickname Camp Daddy. I called him Camp Daddy. I called him Boat Daddy when we were on the boat because he drove the boat. And this was just a running thing all week. And so I felt like this was something we could bring to the podcast to celebrate Father's Day. And I felt like we could all talk about what we believe each other is the daddy of. So how do we define this? The daddy is, you are the daddy of the thing that you love, you care about it, you're obsessive about it, you're focused about it, and it is something that just consumes your being when you're doing that and you're in that moment.
I think there's one important aspect. See, when you brought this topic to us, I was very excited about it. It feels very us, and it's also good timing. There's one other aspect that I think when I was thinking about your different daddy titles that I also think is important, and that is you are an evangelist for this thing. Because Joe is very much a camp daddy of it. Like he wants people to camp. He wants it in the most earnest way. Like it's a beautiful thing to see how much Joe cares about this camping trip and getting other people that want to go and have a good, like he wants to make sure everybody has a good time. It is a very wholesome thing in the way that he loves this. And so I feel like it's a great example.
Absolutely. And I want to make it clear, this is not derogatory. Never call somebody a daddy in a derogatory fashion. That's inappropriate. Joe was maybe a little offended at one point and thought we were saying he was too demeaning.
Well, they kept calling me Camp Daddy, and at one point, someone in our group goes, "Here, Camp Daddy," and threw what I guess they thought was an empty beer, but it ended up being a full beer that then exploded all across my chest on me. And that soured the Camp Daddy name for me.
See, that just sounds like it was a mistake. And I feel like Camp Daddy's going to stick. But we're not going to stick with Camp Daddy.
This is a great way for you to compliment your friend when they are being an evangelist for something, when they are truly passionate about something. So do this in your own life. Don't just save it for here. Tell us while we do this, tweet at us, send us an Instagram, whatever. Tell us what you're the daddy of.
I feel like this is going to be our first hashtag or something that goes viral. So we have to come up with a good hashtag before this episode's over.
Oh, man, that's too much pressure. So
that's a lot of pressure.
Let's start. So basically what I task the guys and myself with doing is we get to tell the other one what we think they are the daddy of. And so I will start by espousing what I think each of them are the daddy of. Now, I'll start with Joe because I already called him Camp Daddy. And while that is accurate, I didn't want to repeat myself. And so I needed to come up with a new thing he could be daddy of. Now, something we all know about Joe is he loves his tools. He is a tool man. He is a big fan of Papa Noel. Really works hard out in his shop. Loves building things. And so I decided that Joe is Wood Daddy.
I mean, it's not wrong. to me, when I think of a dad, it's something you want to teach people. Like dads are teachers when it comes down to it. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. So it's something that you'd be willing to. And I do feel like if you come over to my house, I probably over-explain / mansplain / whatever.
Here's
what
the
is
thing.
happening and why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I love it. All that.
I am confident that if I walked the half mile to Joe's house right now, and if we weren't recording, and I said,
and if they let you out of solitary confinement.
if they let me out for good behavior, then I could walk over.
Most prison systems have a workshop.
That's true. Maybe I'll just have him come over. Either way, if I called Joe up and said, "Hey, I need you to teach me how to do this," he would 100% do it, and he would enjoy giving me that information that I need.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, Wood Daddy is absolutely correct.
And I think this underscores a very important part in the difference between dad and daddy. If I called you Wood Dad or Camp Dad, that insinuates that you are demanding and that you're commandeering. Dad is more of a harsh term, but a daddy is loving and caring and wants to share. And so I think Joe also shows people that he cares by building them things. He made me a beautiful cutting board that I still use to this day. It is the showpiece of my kitchen. Joe has built shelving for his daughter's room, which took 18 years, but he got it done. And Joe's built all sorts of things for other people. When I, proposed to Erica, he said, hey, if you need to build anything for the wedding, I'll do it. Hit me up. That's just the type of guy he is, and that's why Joe is Wood Daddy, in my opinion. Now, for Ryan, I went a different way. Ryan doesn't necessarily like to build things, I don't think. That's not necessarily his aesthetic. He
only gets 30 minutes a day.
But he only gets 30 minutes a day. You can't do much.
Limited time, limited tools. Yeah, so,
and he's trying to finish up the GED program. So
yeah, I'm also taking some cooking classes, but yeah. The shop is low on the list.
Yeah, he's usually spending that time writing letters to his imaginary wife.
The fiction that we have woven about me is really getting dark.
He's got to go to prison commissary to see what's out there.
The Leah doesn't exist, and now backing that up with I'm actually in solitary confinement, and I've made up Leah in my head.
Listeners, if we ever were to start a Patreon page or any kind of paid platform, just know that your money would go directly to Ryan's commissary fund. That way he can buy some ramen noodles, cigarettes, stuff he can trade in the open market in prison and get other goods he may need.
Try to pay a better lawyer than I had last time.
It's amazing you haven't moved all those diapers behind you. I figured those would be hot commodities.
I've been trading them. Got to keep them.
Unfortunately, Ryan's been trading all his stuff for the diapers because, he needs them. But, okay, anyway, so Ryan, and this might be fitting, all things told, considering your current predicament. But the way we all got together and kind of, built the foundation for what would eventually become this podcast is we played Dungeons and Dragons together because we're white guys in our 20s at the time. And that's just what you do. And so we
like podcast.
Yeah, and we like podcasts. And so Ryan always started out as the DM. He got the group together. He kind of he wrote the campaign. He made sure people had their characters. He helped them set up their character pages. He knew all the rules. Ryan's an encyclopedia of D&D knowledge. So that is why I figured I would bestow on you the title of Dungeon Daddy.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of like it. I like it a lot, actually.
I'm sure you do.
Being called daddy in any context at this point it does make me slightly uncomfortable. But Dungeon Daddy takes that to a whole new level.
Now, I will say that there are some connotations that go along with Dungeon Daddy that I think we'll have to have everyone just sort of push those aside.
What I don't know what you're talking about. What are you referring to?
I don't think you need to explain yourself.
We're not going to go into it. But I love Dungeons and Dragons. I think it is one of the most unique creative outlets out there. Josh and I have had a lot of fun trading off dungeon mastering. He's more of the creative type, so the writing comes to him. I am more just the passionate about the actual game and learning the rules and stuff like that. Like you said, I somehow have absorbed all the rules and know them backwards and forwards, but
just like a good dungeon daddy.
That's right. I will proudly wear the title of Dungeon Daddy.
Well, you should, because Dungeon Daddy is a title that is honorable. It comes with a lot of respect. It is deep in the lore of D&D, and
it
that is who
you are. It comes with a free set of a D20, a free D20 dice.
It does. Built in. Ryan actually carved some out of stone in his cell down there, so he's still being Dungeon Daddy in his cell.
I actually carved a loaded one, so it hits 19 and 20 almost every time.
Damn, that's impressive. How'd you pull that off?
Years
in typical dad fashion, he's cheating.
Yeah,
cheating to win a game.
Now,
no, that's Dungeon Dad. Dungeon Daddy.
Yeah, that's Dungeon Dad. Dungeon Daddy does not cheat.
The rules above all.
Absolutely. So that is kind of the basis for the daddy, the daddy concept. And so I want to hear what you all have given each of us here on the podcast as their daddy title. But first, I think we need to go to the mod office because we do have a pretty important announcement this week and a pretty important conversation we need to have. So if everybody will join us this week instead of just skipping through, that'd be super. So we're going to head over there, and then we will give you what you are waiting for, which is more daddy content.
Well, welcome everybody to a very important Mod Office. I know sometimes you guys probably skip these, but please don't skip. So
this is a town hall, if anything. A moderator town hall.
More of a town hall than a true Mod Office. We are all in here for the first time since we did our crazy bits. Just because we thought it was important. So we are going to be switching our release schedule. This is for a lot of reasons. One, Josh's job has been kind of crazy, and he does the editing for the show. And rather than change everything up and have us edit on a different program and on a different schedule and have to republish and everything, we have decided we are going to start releasing our episodes every other week. Now, as we said, a lot of that is because of time commitments. We feel like we want to make sure we still give you guys good episodes. And honestly, we want to be still happy and proud to put this show out. And if we continue to try to do weekly, we feel like it's going to start to become a burden. And we don't want that because that's not what this show was for.
And look, we did weekly for a year. So
that's true.
We gave you premium content on a weekly basis for a year. And now look, I'm not trying to
didn't even have to pay for it.
You didn't even have to pay for it. We certainly didn't see any of it if you did. So I don't know who you were giving money to, but it was not us, unfortunately. But, look, we all still love doing the podcast. It's a blast. We are stoked that people listen. We love that we can bring some joy to folks. And we'd love to keep doing it weekly, but we just can't. It is hard. But the good news is, I think, A, it will make our debates even better because we'll have more time to prepare, which currently we have zero and do very little prep, as if you can't tell. And B, it'll just allow me more time to maybe get a little fancy if we want to do something fun again. We haven't, we used to do a lot of fun bits. I think Run for the Red Noses might have been our last one, that take a lot of work, and I love doing those, but eventually we had to quit it. But I think it'll just give us some time to experiment a little bit, do some more fun stuff. And hey, once we get through the summer and maybe things calm down again, once everybody gets back inside, maybe we'll go back to weekly. But at least for now, we're going to take a little rest and bring you some premium content twice a month, still on Thursdays. So, keep an eye out for it.
Like Josh said, that is not to say we won't go back to weekly at some point. We are not ruling that out, but we also are not giving any sort of deadline. We're gonna go every other week for now, and if we feel like we can ramp it back up in the future, maybe we will. But we're not really gonna hold ourselves to.
And
that.
Hey, the great thing about having your own podcast is you can make your own rules. So we do what we want.
Exactly.
Yeah, no sponsors means we're not beholden to anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, we aren't owned by anybody, unfortunately.
Speaking of, if you are someone who would like to sponsor the podcast, we would gladly like to discuss that with you. We are always looking for anyone we could possibly give representation to. We could possibly help build their business, build their event, whatever it may be. So if you are looking for someone to help you get their name out, help you promote a product, whatever it may be, reach out to us, slide into our DM daddies, let us know what's going on, and we'll be happy to help you out, come to some sort of agreement, and see what we can do.
And if you want this show to come out every week, and then you'll need to sponsor us. So if you want to see it every week, then go give us some money, and we will make that work.
Well, I think that wraps up everything that we need to say. So how about we head back into the main office and you tell me what I am the daddy of, and we'll go from there. Okay, I think everybody's left the Mod Office, guys. There's a couple of key things we actually need to talk about now that we're going to bi-weekly that I think are very important. First off, who's going to tell the new intern that we have to lay him off? Because I don't know that we're going to be able to make this work if we can't.
This is the last guy we laid him off already. This is the guy we told him it was exposure, so we can just tell him. Honestly, we could just tell him that we're still producing episodes, and he'll just think that they're coming out weekly. But really, it's every other week.
Well, could he possibly do impressions of us and record on the off week so we stay weekly?
We probably have enough off cuts of audio that he could piece something together.
Okay.
I just want to know, can he mow my lawn occasionally?
I'll text him.
No, wait, no, it's my yard. I can't let anybody else touch that.
Oh, that's a good point. That is very true daddy of you. Now, other point of concern, ever since we went to Vegas, Perry's been having to shave him weekly. And if we're not going to be here at the office, I don't know that we can keep doing that. Is someone willing to come in on the off weeks to shave Perry?
You know what? I can handle that burden myself.
Okay, are you going to do
I've
house
been working
calls?
on my straight blade razor technique, and
perfect.
it'll be nice to try.
That's going to be a shiny ass.
So we have mobile Perry grooming now. So that's a new business. And I think we can head back into the main office. I think everybody... Oh, they stayed. Guys, we screwed up. They stayed here. I think they heard everything we just said.
Oh, crap. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
We'll head back in the main office.
We're real on this podcast.
It's fine. We'll head back. All right. Well, we're back here in the main office, and everybody has joined us out here. Once again, we apologize for everything we said in the mod office. Hopefully you all stuck around to listen to that. Very important stuff. Now, back to the most important thing, which is calling each other daddy. So, Ryan, I gave my two daddy nicknames to you two. Now it's your turn to give them to me and Joe. So what do you got?
So Josh's daddy name came to me like a lightning bolt of inspiration. It was it's beautiful and it fits perfectly, and I'm very passionate about it. And that is Papa Chic, and that is French. That is French for fancy dad.
Almost like now, Papa Noel.
A little bit, but it, has a little bit more. I feel like there's a lot of. I need to explain.
And if you go south of the border, it could be Papi Chic.
Papi Chic is also very good. I think I prefer.
I never thought about working foreign language into this name, but now I regret that I didn't.
So I'm actually going to give our listeners the option. If you can refer to Josh now as Papi or Papa Chic, either one.
I like the Latin French fusion. That sounds like a good restaurant, but also a good way to give me my daddy name. So I like both. Whatever the listeners pick, I'm all in.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just go back and forth. So this is for a lot of reasons.
Papi Chic sounds like when you wear like brown loafers, like pleated chino khakis, and a Hawaiian shirt. Like what's he's wearing Papi Chics. Papi Chic, that's his look.
When old men wear their brown loafers out, business is going down with the ladies.
Especially when they wear the nice belt.
Ooh, that's Papi Chic. I love that look, Papi Chic.
So the reason I went with Papa Chic, and this is French for fancy dad, is for several reasons. One, as most of the listeners can probably figure out from context clues, and that is Josh is bougie. Now, a lot of times you could take that as a derogatory term. Now, when I use that term for Josh, I don't think of it as derogatory, because the way that he is bougie is in such a way that he likes to share his fanciness and his eccentricities with people, like the fact that he has a record room that he really wants people to come and listen and drink bourbon in.
But nobody ever does. It's a shame.
The last time that we all got together pre-COVID, when he made these fantastic dazed multicolored carrots. Did I say dazed? Glazed.
They were dazed.
I just want to point out that he complains that no one ever comes, but I think we've only been invited one time, and that was for Perry's podcast.
Well, it's going to start happening now that we can get together again and we're all missing human contact, because I can think of nothing better than listening to music that I have never heard before, because Josh is putting it on while drinking his bourbon.
That's what I'm good for.
Yeah, so I think that's the reason that I went with fancy Papa Chic, because he always likes to know, what's the next thing. He really enjoys cooking a fancy meal, especially a brunch, as I see on his Instagram all the time. So if you want to find Papa Chic, just check out Josh Ballard Instagram. Now, when it came to Joe, Josh and I were actually texting, and both had come up with Wood Daddy at the same time. I decided to concede Wood Daddy to Josh because he did say it first, but I quickly came up with another one.
Did he call dibs?
He actually didn't.
That seems like a very dad thing to do, is to call dibs.
He's like a good Papa Chic. He was willing to let me have it if I was okay with it.
I think I even said I want everybody to get their threes up. We all need to be firing from beyond the arc.
Yeah, that was actually an exact quote. So I thought about some other aspects of Joe, and really highlighted on this show is the fact that Joe is a 90s connoisseur. He loves all things 90s, specifically all the terrible media choices that he has that come from the 90s. And so that is why I went with Teenage Mutant Ninja Daddy.
Which is also what the ladies call Ryan at the theater.
I'd like to point out that a lot of the stuff from the 90s is amazing too, especially the music.
Oh, listen, we are 90s kids.
We are all.
I will have a debate that I think we grew up in the best era of all time. And I can go into details, but not on this show.
That was actually the 1320s, but we'll have that conversation another day.
Okay, let's have that debate. 1320s versus 1990s. But
Attila the Hun, Nirvana. I mean, that's a tough.
And that's the episode title: Attila the Hun versus Nirvana. So that's why I went with Teenage Mutant Ninja Daddy for Joe, because he loves the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He loves all of those type shows. He has Power Rangers. Any of the 90s things he's into. And not only is he into, he wants to share it with people. Like I said before, he wants to share these things. He's very passionate about making sure other people know that, no, this is good. You should give this a chance. As our listeners know from evidenced on this show, aka Papa Noel.
Joe is a 90s historian, and it is one of his best traits, along with just being real into wood. So
I am a 90s apologist. I think that would be the best way to describe
90s me. Apologist is Joe's next album.
Now, I not to ruin my bit, but I Googled 1320s to see what happened then.
I'm also looking up, and there's some stuff.
I wondered why y'all were so glaze-eyed when I was talking and really giving a good manifesto over here.
I was just happy to hear someone say nice things about me on this podcast as opposed to verbally abusing me.
Well, my first favorite thing about the 1320s Wikipedia entry is that under significant people, it just has a box that says this section is empty. So nobody did anything, apparently.
There was no one of significance in an entire decade?
Not a soul. They just
look like Alfonso IV became the king of Portugal in 1325.
The Dalmatian house of Keglovich is for the first time mentioned in a document, and probably the last time, because I've never heard of that.
The Battle of Zappolino, Medina defeats Bologna.
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 Bologna. Historical events in 1320.
Okay, well, I don't think our listeners are here for this when they hear about Philippa of Hunop marries King Edward III.
Damn! The first Great Black Plague epidemic spreads through southern parts of Asia, killing 50 million people by 1353.
You just picked a heck of a decade there, Josh. Way
Apparently.
So, much like Ryan, I have one for Josh, one for Ryan. And much like Ryan, my one for Josh came to me immediately. And Ryan, I think about, but I think I'm very proud of Ryan's. So for Ryan's, he would be TMIDaddy. Because whatever he does, he gets really intense and like in your face about it, but in a good way.
It's true.
So
Ryan's
like
passionate.
D&D, we're planning a new D&D campaign with our friends, and so Ryan is the dungeon master, the dungeon daddy of our group, and he is setting this up, and he's been texting us and asking all these questions about our characters we've created. And at one point, one person in our group go, I'm on vacation. I really don't have time to think about characters right now. And Ryan goes, it's okay. I'll write up your character for you. And so he does. He dives headfirst into the thing. He gets all intense and passionate about it and will defend it and die on that hill for it. Yeah, literally everything that I can think of that Ryan's really into, he's like that. He's really into disc golf, really into Dungeons and Dragons, like UK football. I remember having numerous discussions before church about how bad the decisions made by UK football, and I was always like, I think this dude's about to punch me if I say the wrong thing. So he is TMIDaddy to a T.
He did punch me one time.
Yes.
Did I?
He did.
That's why he's in his cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
I think I've
Josh,
repressed it.
I thought about cooking because he likes to cook bougie things, but he hasn't cooked for me in a long time, so I didn't think he really deserved that title.
I'm waiting until I have a new house with a kitchen that will allow me to cook for big audiences.
That is a good point.
I thought about like grammar daddy and English language daddy, because I feel like he's always correcting me on what I say and how I say that's wrong. But when it came down to it, the name I came up with was support daddy.
Oh, bud.
So Josh is like a good training bra. He's helpful, supportive, but he's not necessarily be there to be sexy or anything like that. He's not looking for attention by doing it. But he wants to make sure you know he is there for you and gives you all the support and help you need. He comes in very early on in your friendship and just gives you an insane amount of support. He builds a firm foundation for you that you have for the rest of your life so that you can move on and find another role or another bra that may be more specific and fit your needs. But you know that he is always there. That you can always go back to that training bra and have the support.
Well, first off, you can't always go back. Second of all, are you suggesting all my friends leave me?
Yes.
No, I'm suggesting that no matter what,
that's why you have abandonment issues, Josh.
You were always
that's just one reason.
you were there first, and you were a constant memory for them as someone that's been there from the beginning and offered unending support.
Once again, unending is not the case with your example, but that's okay.
I never said they were leaving you. All I said was they may at some point look for a specific type of bra.
Just the metaphor that you chose, but it's okay.
I'm just saying you're like a good training bra. You're there to help them get going, and then they can move on to a specific subset. Like if I had a wood question, I wouldn't go to you.
Man,
you would openly admit that I'm not you're not the person to come through for this.
I get used until I'm useless, and then they move on. Same for my friendships and my romantic life.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not anymore. I got Erica. I don't need you all.
Good training, bro.
Now, when you initially said that, I was like, "Oh man, Joe's being real sweet." Support.
It was
daddy.
an immediate backhanded compliment.
It was purely in speaking of support, in support of his training bra analogy. And
my first two thing was helpful and supportive. Isn't there to be sexy, not looking for attention, but always wants to be there with a firm grip and a helping hand.
Maybe not so much a training bra, but more like just that old reliable bra that you always go back to that you can't get rid of. It's like it's always there for you.
Well,
it's not necessarily
with
sexy.
The training bra is that he was there from the beginning. He's at the beginning of your friendship. Okay. You know he's a solid support system.
Joe loves a good analogy. Maybe we should start calling him NanaDaddy.
NanaDaddy?
I don't know.
Just write that out real quick.
Writing that down.
Just write that out real quick.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Let me get a pen.
I just want you to visualize it.
Yeah, no, we can't. That's not going to work for me.
This looks like something I saw in Ryan's Google history.
I don't have Google history. Remember, I'm in confinement.
The prison has all those sites blocked out.
Fair enough. Well, if you, our listener, know what you are the daddy of, or if you want to nominate somebody else as a daddy of something, you can participate in this game too. That's what makes it so good.
All right, here's my pitch for the hashtag.
Okay.
Brand daddy.
Brand daddy.
Or daddy brand.
Daddy brand? That sounds like a type of jeans.
I still think you should do hashtag tell me I'm your daddy.
See, that you're gonna get some weird stuff on that hashtag.
Yeah, I think we go with NanaDaddy personally. Hashtag NanaDaddy. Because it is an analogy. You know, the whole daddy thing's an analogy in and of itself. So NanaDaddy.
That's true.
So use hashtag NanaDaddy.
No,
and send us.
You just willed it into
Ryan,
existence.
shut up. Use hashtag NanaDaddy. That's ANALADADDY. And send us what you are the daddy of, and we will read them on there.
This is not going to work because I'm just going to talk over you the whole time you're doing it.
Listen, I edit the podcast. We've been over this. I can say whatever I want, and it'll be gospel.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for our hashtag daddy brand or
hashtag NanaDaddy. Ryan, use that get hashtag. It right.
If you do want to send us some of your daddy brands, send it to TMIW Pod on any of the social medias
with hashtag NanaDaddy.
I want to thank Isle of 8 for the use of our theme song, Jean Jacket. Don't forget, this weekend is Father's Day, so make sure you
get your dad something good.
Yeah, get something good. Go to our website and get him a Tell Me I'm Wrong shirt.
Give him a good day. Just a good day is all he needs. Let him mow his lawn and drink a beer.
So I have to tell you all about my first Father's Day experience.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So this is in no way a slight at my wife or my daughter. They would both agree.
This feels like it's about to be a slight at both his wife and his daughter.
They would
Rachel,
both
stop
agree.
listening.
It was literally a day of unfortunate events. So my first Father's Day weekend, my parents were out of town. I'm on my way home. And if you're in Lexington, I'm on Woodhill Drive.
Whoa.
Trying to go to New Circle Road. I'm in the middle of Woodhill Drive, and all of a sudden my car just
Lexington
dies.
translator Josh Ballard here. Woodhill Drive is located on kind of on the north side of Lexington, most famous for the mall that has been turned into a mega church, as well as the Chuck E. Cheese and the IHOP.
Also shootings.
Also shootings.
Yeah, it's not the best place. But, so I'm on this trying to head home to meet Rachel for dinner, and my car just dies right in the middle of the road. I have to push the car off the road by myself. I go to pull in there. The car won't start, won't do anything. This guy pulls up and goes, my hood's up, mind you. He goes, you having car problems? And I just looked at him and I said, no, my engine was thirsty and wanted some air. I don't know. Yeah, I'm having car problems. So the guy goes, I got to get my tools. He gets his tools. This dude is like 6'7", comes and starts dismantling my motor in the parking lot of basically Austin City Saloon. And I'm too scared. I'm not really scared of anybody, but this dude's a big dude. And I'm like, hey, I don't know about that. He's like, nah, I think it's your fuel, something. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. It ran and just stopped.
He's like, I'm going to have to take your engine with me in my car.
Yeah, pretty much.
As well as your tires.
I call Rachel. She's at home on maternity leave. She's like, okay, let me try to get the baby together and come meet you. She's like, call my parents.
Hold on. Do you have to assemble babies?
You have to assemble all the equipment you need to take them out of the house. That's for sure.
Oh,
so
okay.
Rachel's parents show up. They're questioning me why this dude is dismantling the car in front of me. And I just kind of shake my head. And then so they park behind me and this guy pulls in and almost hits their car. And he's like, hey, why don't you move their car? It's not in a safe spot. And the guy that's working on my car goes, why don't you mind your own damn business and just move ahead? And the guy was like, I was just trying to be nice. And they got into a verbal fight right there. I thought they were literally going to come to fisticuffs. Granted, it's June. It's 94 degrees. I'm wearing slacks and a polo shirt, so I'm sweating through my polo shirt in this parking lot. We have to park my car on the road. My in-laws take me to Culver's to meet Rachel. We get to Culver's. It's been hot all day. Culver's AC is out.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm eating in Culver's. Rachel gets there with Sloan.
Man, Culver's is not a place you want to have swamp ass either.
Nope. No. I'm so happy to see them. I picked Sloan up. Unbeknownst to me, Sloan had pooped, blown out of her diaper, and she proceeded to poop all over the front of my polo shirt.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm now in
Joe.
Culver's. It's 85 degrees inside of Culver's. I have poop all over me after I've just watched two grown men about fight each other.
What a day.
We're trying to figure out what we're going to do with the car. So my father-in-law goes, I can tow it back. So we drive out to Winchester from Culver's to get his truck. He literally attaches a strap to the front of the car and tows me 4.5 miles to this car shop with no brakes, no steering, no nothing.
Oh my gosh.
And at one point, while I'm being pulled, I text Rachel and said, I love you and Sloan. I was so afraid that I was going to die. I took the moment to text her and say, I love you one last time because I legitimately thought death was in my near future. We're on Liberty Road and it angles back into like a Y. He turns so fast I can't turn. It just jerks the front end of my car around. I almost hit another car going the other way and then pulls me aside and goes. So
you're basically tubing in a sedan.
It's pretty much.
Yeah, sedan tubing.
We get there. And we find out the alternator is bad. And Rachel goes, well, I'm sorry, but for Father's Day, I guess you're getting a new alternator.
Damn.
Wow. And I was like, hey, welcome to being a dad. So yes, my first Father's Day was nothing to do with Rachel and Sloan, but was all in all not a great 24 hours.
If I remember correctly, I think you called me after your car went out and I did not help in any way.
Well, my parents were out of town on vacation, so I literally had and her parents were busy. She had a 2-month-old she was trying to care for, so she really couldn't come help me. So I was literally just calling random people like, hey, would you mind to come? And these 3 dudes tried to stop and help me push the car on the road, but instead of getting out and push me, they just literally pulled their car up to the back of my car and pushed my car with their car. And I was trying to steer my car, and I was like, stop, this is not helping me, I'm going to die. So yeah, I almost died in Austin City Saloon's parking lot by 2 grown men fighting each other, and I almost died on their way there. And
you would not be the first.
No, unfortunately, not in that area. I would not be the first. So yeah, my first. I hope everyone out there have a good Father's Day experience. All my other ones have been amazing since then. So far, we've not had any car issues or public fights since that time. So it's been good. If you want to learn more about bad experiences, follow us on all our social medias at TMIW Pod. I may post them. Who knows? I just get freaky.
I don't know. We need to post something, so that's fine if you want to post that.
Yeah, I'll just do something like that at TMIW Pod, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Use the hashtag TMIW Pod and tell us about your bad daddies or anal daddies or analog daddies or whatever.
Nope.
Whatever Josh said.
Analog-daddy.
Whatever he's forcing us to use. So yeah, follow us on there. And if you are someone who wants to support us, even after all that we've said tonight, feel free to reach out to us, slide into those DMs, send us an email. We'll be happy to discuss.
And while you're online, head over to TMIWpod.com. Over there, you can connect with us on social media. As Joe said, tweet stuff at us. We'll have a running blog just showing all the people that use hashtag AnalaDaddy. I'm sure it'll go just great. And while you're on that website, you can also check out a new instructional video done by our resident father, Joe, teaching you how to properly assemble your baby. So take a look at that, check it out, and I'm certain it'll be informative.
I'm going to just go ahead and grab babyassembly.org. Yep, got it. Okay.
Awesome.
It gets real strange when you get into we have to grease certain parts of the chassis to get it moving.
Is that what the baby grease is for? We got that on the registry.
That's what that is. You just grease a couple spots. That way it doesn't squeak and it moves freely.
Is that how you make them less noisy?
Yeah, when there's a hole in the front of their face, you just fill that full of grease and it takes care of all the sound.
Don't do that. Do not do that. Do not follow
we need to go ahead and just give a big disclaimer.
We don't know anything about the babies.
We're just kidding.
All I know is that the diapers are not actually for poop. That is just what holds all the parts together. So
apparently diapers are not for poop in Culver's because they do nothing to stop it.
Well, that's anybody's pants at Culver's. I worked there, so I know.
All right. I think we've gone on long enough. Make sure you send us your daddy stories. As always, there is one winner, but we're all losers. Later, losers.
See ya.
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. A little boy blue and that man on the moon. When you're coming home, Dungeon Daddy don't know when. But I hope you roll a D20 then. Yeah, hope we can go on and win.